All right, in 2.2, we're going to convert a terminating decimal, whatever that is, to a fraction. So we're going to write these decimals as fractions or mixed numbers. So we have 0.1 there, which is 1/10. And again, we have the leading zero there, which I don't always write. And then we have 5 3/100ths. And then we have 17/100ths, right? Because all of these, we don't care about these leading zeros. One place over tenths, two places over hundredths. So this is 9 thousandths. Those are all fractions. Now we're making mixed numbers. 14, and you say this is and, 14 and 37 thousandths. And this is 831 thousandths. All right. So we're going to convert terminating decimals to fractions. So terminating decimals are decimals that end. The last station at a train or on a railroad is called the terminal because the terminal is the end. Arnold Schwarzenegger was in a movie called The Terminator because he ended people's lives. That's why he was a bad guy in number 1, but then he became a good guy in number 2, or a good cyborg. So Terminator means end. So all these decimals end. That means there's decimals that don't end, which are coming later. These are terminating decimals. Okay, so write each terminating decimal as a fraction or mixed number in simplest form, right? So the other day in place value lesson, we might have written 2/10, but no way, right? 2/10 is not simplified. And so today, no way you write that. You write 1/5. Here we have 5 600ths. Again, no way you're going to write that. 6 and 100 are both even, so you divide them by 2. And so you get 5 3/50ths. That's 12/100ths. And they're both, 100 and 12 are both divisible by 4, not just 2, right? Because we know there are 4 quarters in a dollar. So 4 times 25 makes 100, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So this is 3/25ths. This is 9 28 thousandths. Okay, so I just said 100 is divisible by 4. Guess what? So is 1,000. We're going to go over that right now. So 28 divided by 4 is 7. Now 4 goes into 100 25 times. So what does 4 go into 1,000, you think? It goes 250 times. So that makes 9.028 makes 9 7 250ths. 8.5 is 8 5/10. Now, on 5/10, I really want you to memorize, if you haven't, that makes 1/2. Every time we get 5/10, right, we're going to change it to 1/2. And you don't even have to show your work. 8.5 is 8 1/2. Right, 5/10, 5 out of 10 is always a half. 3.25 is 3 25/100ths, right? If you have 25 cents, though, like $3.25, you have $3 and 1/4, also known as 3 1/4, right? Both 25 and 100 are divisible by 25. And so 3.25 is 3 1/4. 7.5 or 75/100ths, right? Simplifies. Again, these are divisible by 25. And so you get 3/4. 75 cents is considered 3/4 of a dollar. 25 cents is considered 1/4 of a dollar. That is 13 75 thousandths. Now we're going to divide by 25 like we've been doing. So we have the 13. 75 divided by 25 is 3. 25 goes into 104. 25 goes into 1,000. 40. So that simplifies 3.075 to 13 3/40ths. So using yesterday's lesson, this is 4 10,000ths. But you have to simplify. We just said 4 went into 100 and 1,000. Does it go into 10,000? It sure does. 4 divided by 4 is 1, right? 100 divided by 4, 25. 1,000 divided by 4, 250. So what's 10,000 divided by 4? it is 2,500. Now, yes, you could do it the long way. 4 goes into 10 twice. Remainder 2, bring down a 0. 4 into 100, 25. 0, bring down a 0. But you're just bringing down zeros, right? 4 goes into 10,000, 2,500. 1 2,500th. Oh my goodness. All right, so that's 19 and 25, 5 places over. So we're not 25 100,000ths. So 19, we're obviously going to divide by 25 again. And you can hopefully guess if that one, 10,000 divided by 4 is 2,500. This is 25,000, right? And so it's 19 and 1/25,000th. Right, what fraction of the tank is shaded? We have a bunch of decimals. Now notice the blue. The blue is trying to follow this curve, although I didn't draw it perfectly. But you show where this line is coming, this curve is, and that's 4/10, right? 0.4 is 4/10, but 4/10 is never a right answer because we have to simplify every fraction today. It is 2/5. Right, so if you check on the internet of how your sports team is doing, it's usually listed in thousandths. Okay, so the Spurs have won 750 thousandths of their games, Hornets 500 thousandths, and the Grizzlies 325 thousandths. But we want to make them into a simplified fraction. So what fraction of the time did the Spurs win? So they won, right, 75 out of 1,000. Or 750 out of 1,000, I apologize, which right away, we cross out those zeros. And if you don't know that trick, please, that's dividing by 10. I divided both 750 and 1,000 by 10, and now we're at 775 hundredths. So we can now divide them both by 25 and get 3/4. But you could have just done that with 250 if you wished, but I think it's easier to cross out those zeros. So they won, what fraction of the times did the Spurs win? They won 3/4 of the time. Out of every 4 games they play, they win 3. They're doing good. They're winning 3 out of 4. When I wrote this lesson, the Spurs were good. All right, the Hornets. All right, so they've won 500 out of 1,000. But once again, we can cross out those zeros and those zeros. And so that's dividing by 100 top and bottom. And we have 5/10. And I told you to memorize 5/10. That 5/10 is 1/2. Right? So they won half their games, which is okay. So you can guess what's next. What fraction of the time did the Grizzlies win? The Grizzlies were not good when I wrote this lesson. Let's see. Maybe things are different now than when you're listening to it. So this is 325 thousandths. Now, this one's a little trickier. Let's see if we can maybe, let's try 25. Well, we know 25 goes in, but there's something else bigger might go in. Now, 25 goes into 104, so 25 goes into 1,040. So that one's 40. Let's see what 25 into 325 is. 25 into 32 goes once. And we get a remainder of 7. Bring down 25 goes into 75. 3. Oh, they won this 1340. It's not nearly as nice a fraction, right? If they play 40 games, they win about 13. But that is luck. So notice, what's nice about this way they put this on the internet or in the newspaper is it's very clear that 0.750 is better than 0.500, better than 0.325. Where if you put them as fractions, say, in the paper, not everyone would know that how to compare 3/4, 1/2, and 13/40 because of the different denominators. But typically sports teams are rated in thousandths. All right, so let's practice. So what type of decimal is? Oh, Schwarzenegger's movie. Yeah, this is a terminating decimal. Now, when you learn the other kinds of decimals, then that will be clearer. But this decimal ends right there, and so it's called a terminating decimal. All of these were terminating decimals. All right, so then this is 7 8/10. but it's not in simplest form. And truthfully, I didn't even need to write that in the instructions. You have an answer, you're not writing it in anything but simplest form. 7 4/5. That's 2 thousandths. Well, we can divide both of those by 2, and you get 1/500. All right, you could just cross, that is 320 thousandths, but I could just cross that off and go 32 hundredths right off the bat, make my life easier. And then both of those are divisible by 4, right? 100 divided by 4 is 25. 32 divided by 4 is 8. 8/25. This is 19 85 thousandths. Now, once again, let's see, 85 thousandths. Well, I know for sure that 5 goes in here. Maybe something better goes in there, but we'll see. So I might actually have to do some work here. 5 into 85. 5 goes into 8 once with a 3 remainder. Bring down the 5. 5 into 35, 17. All right, so I got a prime number there. So it is, there's no, because 17 is a prime number, we're not going to get anything better than 5. So now 100 divided by 5 is 20. 5 times, right? 5 into 10 is 2. 5 into 100 is 20. So 5 into 1,000 must be 200. And I almost made a very common mistake there. 19, because I almost forgot the 19. 19 and 17 200ths. 7 here, and this, we're now in the 10 thousandths place. So 7 and 2 10,000ths, so it's 7 half, right? We're dividing by 2. Half of 10,000 is 5,000. So that's 7 and 1 5,000. Ooh, look at this. 412 and 5, not 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 500 thousandths. Luckily, both of those are divisible by 5 clearly, right? So this is going to be a 1. Now 5 goes into 10 twice. 100, 20, 1,000, 200. We just did that up there. Then 10,000, 2,000, and this is 20,000, right? 20,000 times 5 is 100,000. So this is 412, 1/20,000th. All right, so we're going to find the fraction that each of these teams won. Now you can just cross out these zeros and go right to 6/10. You don't have to write 600 thousandths. That's a waste of time, right? Then we can simplify 6/10, and the Bulls won 3/5 of the time. Again, we don't have to do 450 thousandths. We can go right to 45 hundredths. Divide top and bottom by 5. And 45 divided by 5, 9. 100 divided by 5 is 20. Right? 5 into 10 is 2. 5 into 100 is 20. 9/20. Now the next, you are stuck with 375 thousandths. Now I'm going to talk about doing this a couple of ways. I think the most logical thing most people would do given the lesson today, you do 25. Right? 25 goes to 104, so it goes into 1,040. But how many times does 25 go into 375? Well, it goes in once. The remainder of 12, bring down a 5. 25 into 125 goes 5, right? 5 quarters makes $1.25. But then I get 15/40ths, right? That's not a simplified fraction. They both can be divided by 5. And this actually, they won, the Knicks won 3/8 of the time. So what does that mean? It means this, that you will in a few lessons be able to realize that 375 is divisible by 125. And 125 goes into 1,000 8 times. 125 goes into 375 3 times, 3/8. Now that may look difficult now, but in your future it won't be that hard. But you could always do it this way, right? By the way, you can always tell afterwards. If you had to go twice, you can always tell what the greatest common factor should have been, what you should have divided, by multiplying the two things you divided by. I divided by 25 and 5, so I knew when I looked at that I could have divided by 125. Good luck with the homework.